Hey rockers, back again for yet another tale, going back to the year 1987. And man, I'm sorry I've been absent for a few days. I had family visiting, so I've just been preoccupied and hanging out with the fam. But today we're going back to the specific date of August 28th, 1987, in which my band, Bloody Mess and Hate, opened up for Naked Raygun and Stabbing Westward. Yep. It happened in East Peoria, Illinois, and the band Smoldering Remains was also on the bill. Now, Smoldering Remains was a great little hardcore / thrash kind of metal noise band made up of three people. Matt Ziegler, a.k.a. Ziggy, Ty Smith, rest in peace, on drums. What a great drummer. And Marty Gray on the bass guitar. Or was it vice versa? Yeah, Marty was on the bass and Matt was on guitar. So what happened was the band and I, Bloody Mess and Hate, started out as a joke band. The first gig we ever did was opening for G.G. Allen, July 31st, 1985, and the band that started with Bloody Mess and Hate was basically the Steffi Brothers and myself. And then it morphed, and I decided to keep it going, and we went through various band members, including Kevin Rotten, Jeff Inman, a.k.a. Jeff Piss, and a slew of other people. Oh my gosh, Todd Mitchell, people I can't remember their names, basically. There's a lot of people that went through Bloody Mess and Hate. Flea, a.k.a. Dave Wagner, he was a lot of fun to hang out with, and he's come a long way in his path in life, and so have I. What other people were in the band Hate? There were so many I can't really remember. But at this particular show in East Peoria, Illinois in 1987, it was myself on vocals, it was Doug Love on the bass guitar, and it was Kevin O'Leary on the guitar, and a guy named CJ, who we could refer to as Spineless, but I won't. But at the time, I was pretty unimpressed with him. You'll find out why later, and you'll probably take his side. But CJ played the drums. First of all, we were rehearsing every month or two. I went through a completely different set of band members because it was a crazy band. You'd have a lot of people spitting on you. It was a really wild time in punk rock history in central Illinois because there really wasn't any punk rock until myself and a bunch of others like the Steffi Brothers and Michael Russa and a handful of other people. Lydia Paweski kind of built a punk rock scene in central Illinois, and it was definitely a group thing. It wasn't really intentional. It just happened. All of a sudden there were fanzines everywhere and there was bands popping up and there was a skateboarding faction. There your drunk punks. It was kind of cool. And it definitely a house divided, but at the same time kind of united too. It was back and forth. But on this night, Smoldering Remains was ready to play. Hate had been practicing and practicing. We were kind of having trouble with the drummer. He just couldn't quite get the beat of hardcore punk. But I had no other drummer, and I thought, well, let's go for it and see what happens. And he promised he would be fine on show night. So we rehearsed a little set, including a song that we never really got to record, but it was about Jim and Tammy Faye Baker. And it was a song that I wrote back in '86 called Jim and Tammy. And yeah, I still remember the words to that song. I love Jim and Tammy, they ought to win a Grammy. And I love Tammy Faye, we don't care if Jim's gay. It was just a silly, stupid, funny punk rock song written in '86 about the old Jim and Tammy Faye Baker scandal. Well, Bloody Mess and Hate was getting ready to make our debut performance with this new lineup, and of course, Stabbing Westward and Naked Raygun on the bill. Naked Raygun featuring Jeff Pizzotti on the vocals and Santiago Durango on the guitar. A very famous Chicago punk band with a lot of fans. I want to take a moment, though, to say, please, take a second to subscribe to my channel, man. I really appreciate it, guys. I want to build it up, and you're helping. If you could like it, maybe leave a comment, that'd be great. And shout out to Full Shred Ahead, FSA from Kenosha, Wisconsin. Kenosha, Wisconsin hardcore punk lives. And a shout out to JFSA, my brother, who sent me this great care package, man. T-shirt, CD, stickers. You rule, JFSA. And yeah, Full Shred Ahead. So the night comes. We don't know how many people are going to show up, although it's been advertised. Tickets are pre-sold. The ICC Gymnasium, Illinois Central College Gymnasium, was very big. quite spacious. They had a stage set up, which was small, but they also had all the risers like you would see at a gym or a pep rally in a high school. But it was literally a college gymnasium. Well, they had a stage platform set up. The next thing you know, there is a huge line at this place. We were like, whoa, it was crazy, dude. Like, check it out. The news came, ABC TV, Channel 19 News with Brian Malahy. They showed up to do a little 3-part series on Peoria punk rock, and you can find that somewhere on YouTube. I think it's on my other channel, The Church of Rock, all one word. And man, it was crazy. And like the news special said later, the place was full of makeup, mohawks, and leather jackets. And it was, man. This was a time when the Peoria punk scene was really thriving. Having been born in around 83, it just was really thriving as far as the current punk rock. I don't mean 60s garage rock, stuff that had been a predecessor to the punk rock of the 80s, or maybe some of the new wave stuff in the 70s. But this show was packed. Tons of people. It was really cool. Smoldering Remains went on and they played a blistering set, maybe 30 minutes tops. And I just remember there was one song about vomiting. Yeah. I'm going to refer to my notes. I have to, man. I just have to. The next thing that happened was pretty interesting. Bloody Mess and Hate decided to do a little bit of theater that night. And when we were introduced, instead of being introduced as Bloody Mess and Hate, they introduced me under my legal birth certificate name. And I literally came out, walking out on stage, and I was dressed in a complete suit and tie with blue suede shoes, completely a nice dressed down look, my hair nice and combed, and we had a backing tape with music to the song White Christmas. Yep, it was the middle of August. Well, it was August 28th, so it was the summertime, and I decided to open with White Christmas. So it was like doing karaoke, man. I'm up on stage, and the people are kind of like, what in the hell? But everyone took to the joke very well. I'm up there singing White Christmas, doing the whole Bing Crosby kind of crooner thing, because at the time I was obsessed with the rockabilly and also like crooners, you know, Rudy Valley, Sinatra, people like that kind of ilk, Dean Martin, that kind of stuff. And it was a joke. Well, everyone had their lighters going because back in the day, before cell phones, people would light lighters at concerts. And everyone had the lighters going and they were swaying back and forth. There was just a ton of people there. And they had the rent-a-cops, which that became a problem. They were just looking for trouble. And by God, there was to be no slam dancing. I don't know what these people thought. I think they thought slam dancing was violent and they misperceived it, as many people do many things. But so Smoldering Remains played. I'm on stage. I'm doing White Christmas. The crowd is singing along. May your days be merry and bright. And the whole crowd singing and kind of going, what in the hell's going on? And then I took a bow. Everyone clapped super loud. I was gagging because they were all going with it. I thought maybe I would confuse people, but I was in fact entertaining people. So, hey, I walked off stage. I quickly ran backstage where the band was already set up and ready to go with their gear in hand. I quickly changed into my little makeup and my little jewelry and got a straitjacket on in tribute to one of my heroes, Alice Cooper. And I came out wearing a straitjacket. They introduced us as Bloody Mess and Hate. We came running out onto the stage and it was awesome. I came tumbling out. The band was into it. We broke into our hit song at the time, Spit on My Face, which can be found on the I'm Glad Sid's Dead 7-inch record on Puke and Vomit Records. I'm not making this up. Yep, it finally came out. The demo came out in 85 on cassette, and the vinyl came out in 2018. You can find it online, Bloody Mess and Hate. I'm Glad Sid's Dead on Puke and Vomit Records. So while we're doing Spit on My Face, all of a sudden, people start slam dancing. The cops come rushing out. It was completely insane. The cops were pulling kids by the back of their hair and their necks and their shirts. And people started spitting like crazy, man. And I'm talking spitting, like gobbing like old school England punk rock days. And you know what happened, man? We're in the middle of the song. It's going great. I'm running back and forth screaming, "Come on, everybody, spit on my face. We hate you and this lame town. We want to terrorize you and put you down. We can't stand the human race. Come on, everybody, spit on my face. You can't spit more than I can handle. I want to give you an example. We hate the human race. Come on, everybody, spit on my face." Well, people took it literally, man, and it had been like a little classic in Peoria for 2 years at this point. So whenever that song was performed, it would be raining down spit. I hate to tell you, it was gross, man. I hated it. But it was funny because I couldn't control it, so what do you do? When life hands you lemons, well... One time, I actually have another story for later, when Hate played at the Owens Recreation Center in Peoria, and we got the whole show shut down, and partially because of spitting. Crazy. Well, then we broke into, well, we didn't, because guess what? The drummer was gone. Yep. Halfway through, 3/4 of the way through the set, I'm like, what happened to the drums, man? And I look back, and CJ, we'll call him Spineless, because he couldn't handle it. I told him what to expect. He just couldn't handle it. Okay, I'll give the guy a break. No more Spineless. I forgive you, CJ. Even though you have called me lots of foul names on the internet, I forgive you, bro. CJ was gone, man. I don't know what happened. I never saw the guy a day in my life after that. True story. The drummer was gone. First song. The crowd went nuts. The security guard had everybody freaking out. No one knew if they could have fun anymore. Well, next thing you know, I look down in the audience and there's Barry Steppy from, yep, the old band Chips Patrol and Unaccepted, and the very first few gigs with Hate. He was the guitar player. So Barry Steppy ends up on stage somehow playing guitar, I believe. I end up playing bass guitar, and then I believe I think it was Doug Love, I don't remember, Eric Doran, God, somebody ended up on drums, and I can't remember who it was, but then we played I Ain't Got No Friends, which was a classic from the Chips Patrol days, which it still is a classic, and that song, I Ain't Got No Friends, can be found on the Mother Records compilation CD out of New York City, on Mother Records, called Bands Only a Mother Could Love. And matter of fact, Spit on My Face is also on there, I do believe. My friends, it got really crazy. The crowd was going nuts. Security couldn't handle it. It became a completely different band than what we started out with. It was just really wacky, man. So we cut the set short. I really don't remember what other songs we did, if any, so forgive me for that. I don't remember if we did Jim and Tammy at the show or if we only did that at rehearsal, but I do remember we did those 2 songs. There were other songs that Hate was known for, including one called Crabs on My Balls. There was one called Fetus Suffocation, which was about the state of affairs with the abortion policies in America and the arguing over the politics of it. Women should control their own damn bodies. Stay out of their business. That's my opinion, but don't hold me against it, because you know what? Do what you want to, my friends. Do what you will. Whatever politics you believe, I guarantee I probably don't, because I'm not a political person. I go with common sense, and I also don't divide myself based on my politics and others. So if you're watching, we can still be friends, man, just because I have a different opinion. Right? Yeah, I hope so. So we play the gig. The next thing you know, it's just melee. It's craziness. Channel 19 is up there with their video cameras, and they're like right in my face, and they captured all this stuff. So when you watch part of the series that came out later, the 3-part series on ABC TV, they actually showed me up there with my straitjacket on, with my black biker boots on, kicking people in the audience because they're spitting right on me, and it's getting kind of offensive. It was a crazy show. Kicking going on from me. The whole band transformed from one set of people to another. Spitting was going on. The cops were getting involved. It was nuts, man. And guess what? It was the very last Bloody Mess and Hate show. Yep. So after we played, Stabbing Westward came on. And then Naked Raygun came on. I went backstage, though, when we were done, because I was covered in, well, you know what. And I was also sweaty, because when I perform, I give it my all. And it was just insane. It was a novelty act gone wrong. It was a joke that wasn't ha-ha funny. No. I went backstage to take a shower because they had this cool backstage area for us artists, and the Naked Raygun people did not like me. They stayed the heck away from me. They were not having it. They did not like what we were doing. They weren't fans of what we were doing. And when the 3-part punk rock series came out, the manager of Naked Raygun said, "We came here to play music, and that's not music. It's a bunch of noise." Well, whatever. I call it performance art. I do. So I went backstage, took a quick shower, and I do remember when I was done, I was getting cleaned up, and I had several friends visit, including my ex-girlfriend at the time, Dina, if you guys remember her from the scene in the early days. She did a lot of artwork for the Bloody Mess Publications fanzines that I used to publish. Also, Bob Gordon from Acme Comics fame. Bob, I remember you being there vividly. And Eric Doran was backstage as well. Eric, wherever you're at today. But it was a really fun experience. Everyone seemed to enjoy Bloody Mess and Hate and Smoldering Remains. To be honest with you guys, the very next day after this show, I announced to the press, and I think it was printed somewhere, that I was quitting punk rock. It was my first retirement. So 83 to 87 is how long I lasted before I said, I'm out. And I literally moved the next day to Greeley, Colorado. Yep, and I stayed there for less than a year. And came back, and that's when I started Bloody Mess the Skabs. But yeah, it was a crazy show. The 3-part series is out there somewhere on YouTube. I do want to check my notes to make sure there's nothing that I forgot, my friends. I don't believe there is, actually. But I do want to thank you guys for checking out my channel, checking out my stories. And I'm sorry to say, I did not stay to watch Stabbing Westward and Naked Raygun because I had a U-Haul that I had to pack that had to leave early in the morning to hit the highway for Greeley, Colorado, which is halfway between Denver and Boulder. Man, I have some stories from Colorado, including seeing Divine, the actress and drag queen, performing in a gay bar, lip-syncing to like 20 people. That's another story. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Stick around, my friends. I'll be putting up videos for the next 4 or 5 days in a row. Guaranteed. Cheers. Stay real. Rock and roll.